Okay, Guptil, I definitely remember doing a commentary on you on my old channel, but now it's time for a punching bag video on you on this channel. Alright, let's get on with it. But first, let me tell you a little something about this video. As far as I know, Youngblood Fantasy basically made a commentary on his logos rant, and now Guptil has responded to it. So this is going to be a bit painful because knowing Guptil's fail logic, it's bound to be bad any way possible.
What do you know? I have encountered someone who is actually worth my time.
Judging by the fact on how much time you put into your shitty videos, I'm actually kind of surprised. Also, I just want to mention this. It took you 6 months to respond to Youngblood Fantasy. Now that is one hell of a delay, my friend.
Youngblood Fantasy 91. Recently, he constructed a commentary on Ranterek Shorts number 4, The Unimportance of Change. It was detailed, he was soft-spoken, and he had some interesting points to bring up. Now, many of them I disagree with, and that is why I was determined to make this response to him.
Now, let me get this straight. You're saying that since he had good, detailed, and valid points, there was still points that you disagreed with? Which is it, mate? One or the other?
Now, instead of doing a commentary on a commentary,
which would be even more painful,
what I'll do instead is list the most important arguments and give my thoughts about them. Without any further ado, let's dive in. Argument number 1.
He's considered to be the archetypal sonic fag.
Okay, people, here's what you need to have hammered into your brains. If you describe someone as pretty and sometimes hot, it does mean attractive, but not in a mounting sexual way. Sorry, Jamin, but your argument falls flat on its face. And to add to that, by your own logic, it seems to me that if anybody describes anything as hot, including a stylish backpack or a pen, people are going to cast horrified looks on them and think, "Dear God, he wants to do that backpack! Somebody call security!"
I really don't mean to take every single one of a point that everyone has made a one-shot on this one part on this guy. But I think I might as well just say it as well. The way you were stating it, Guptil, is that you were saying that the anthropomorphic animals were hot, describing them to be sexy in a bit of a way. But when somebody says that a car, pen, bag, or whatever is hot, they're saying, yeah, that's pretty dang nice, it's pretty hot, that's pretty dang cool. You see what I'm getting at? If you're describing an anthropomorphic animal hot, it means that you're, well, you get the drill.
Besides, as long as the anthropomorphic character looks humanoid and is fictional, why does it matter?
1. Because they're not humans. 2. They're underaged.
Quit acting like they're real. Argument dos.
Okay, Guptil, I might as well just ask this. Why are you just saying argument dos when you could have easily said argument 2?
Thank you for describing the nature of our working capitalist society. I see the point of your video slowly flying away into the distance as you continue your sad nitpicking on this trivial topic.
Youngblood, there is a difference between nitpicking and majorly criticizing something.
The way you were complaining about the smallest changes on logos was nitpicking. We are speeding up this part.
Throughout the whole presentation, I've been criticizing major stuff. Nitpicking, on the other hand, is arguing about a change that is so tiny, it wouldn't make any sense to criticize it. Take, for example, the new Nintendo seal. It still has the same font and oval, but it's white. It used to be red and nothing else. If someone complained about that, that would be the proper definition of nitpicking. A major revision would be taking the words orange juice, changing them to OJ, and removing the picture of the orange or oranges. Certain insignias are starting to go down that path.
Despite the fact that it's a fucking logo.
Argument 3.
Even if a logo does change, you can still locate the product label on the box or on the cover anyways. That's what product labels are for. Quick identification of the product so that you can buy it. If you can read the product label, you're fine. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Here's what you don't understand. If you take the design of a product and then warp it around, you're not going to identify it as quickly as you could before.
It can still be recognizable, Guptil. The only way that it would not be recognizable if it was massive changes. That's it. Remember Chrysler that you were arguing about? I could somewhat see where you were coming from with its winged and pentagon emblems, because they were big changes. But since it's a car company, nobody gives a shit about a company. All they buy a car for is to just, well, buy a car. Well, people anyways, that's what they buy a car for. Not to care about the fucking company. Also, like I said, it's only just minor changes that you're nitpicking about, instead of big important changes. We are skipping this next part.
Argument 4.
The two pictures you showed me of the Mountain Dew logo demonstrated minimal modification of the logo itself. So the word mountain was shortened to the abbreviation MTN. It's a common abbreviation. And who cares if the word dew is more slanted to the right? It's still red, the background is still green, and the general design is similar. I would complain if there was a complete overhaul of the logo, not minor changes that spur you into an OCD fit.
This is the only argument that I agree with.
Oh, for God. If that was the only point that you had to agree with him on, there was no need to put that in. Fast forwarding.
The reason I compared those two pictures together is because I thought that MTN would perplex some persons. Little did I know, I was being a bit of an idiot.
Argument number 5. In response to the new Nike emblem, Youngblood mentioned this.
Dude, it's a universal symbol. Do you realize how much advertising we come across today? Do you realize how many times we see this logo and associate it with shoes, sports, and Michael Jordan? Unless if you were born in an uncontacted civilization, Guptil, then there is no way in the 9 regions of hell that this symbol can go unrecognized by someone living in a country with any semblance of an economy.
True, Nike is widely recognized by millions of individuals, yet when you don't have the name on the trademark, sooner or later, someone might ask what the name of it is.
Despite the fact that it's a well-known company, even by sport athletes. Also, saying that people might still ask about it, Nike still puts their brand name on their stuff. Hell, I even have some Nike shoes with Nike written at the back of them.
And quite frankly, I think the populace hate asking that type of question. Also, a couple of other corporations have a design similar to the Nike swoosh, such as Brooks,
That's a fucking 7.
Saucony,
And that's a bird with dots.
and Mizuno.
That looks like a fucking dragon.
In other words, Youngblood, your argument is kind of irrelevant. If you look at some of the other running shoes insignias, they're all conveniently labeled with the name of the product right there. Nike doesn't retain that trait.
Must I repeat myself?
Which it should have. Argument SIX. After explaining that Gatorade transformed to G, and the fact that it's referred to only as G, he had this to announce.
Not necessarily. Although the company could call it G for their ad campaign, people still refer to it as Gatorade either way.
Cool.
Useless point is
besides,
useless.
like I said, if you can find the product label on the bottle, then what is the point of complaining?
Well, see how the name is scrunched in between the word performance and the nutrition facts? Not to mention it's gray, like the other words. It actually seems to blend in.
Really, Guptil? I can still recognize it even from a mile away if it was nearly the same color and camouflaging into it. Also, it has the one trademark that Gatorade still has. It's fucking lightning bolt.
Believe it or not, my stepdad had trouble finding Gatorade drinks. I'm dead serious.
Logos are there so that they can attract consumers, not pander to those who wish to go against the current of the human condition and have things never change ever.
Well, it very well seems that way now.
Adam Smith would be very disappointed with you.
Probably, but you should keep in mind that Smith wasn't a few centuries ahead of his time. The drawback with his Wealth of Nations inquiry is that it doesn't take into account scheming unnecessarily. Therefore, much industry is ignoring his principles. Argument 7.
Don't forget. Seriously, Guptil, that is starting to get really annoying.
This is the response to the What's G ads.
I looked up the commercial on YouTube, Guptil. How can you not think of Gatorade when you see those commercials? They feature athletes, dude. If you have common sense and can connect the dots, you will realize that the athletes plus the letter G involves Gatorade, since previous commercials had similar themes. Unless you can think of a major shoe franchise starting with the letter G that has famous athletes endorsing it, then your gripe is in vain.
Preceding ads didn't have a theme almost identical to What's G, Youngblood?
Did you even listen to him properly? He said that the advert featured athletes, one thing that the Gatorade advertisements commonly showed.
The ads usually involved running, throwing balls, striking pucks, and so on.
Things that an athlete would normally do.
It also exhibited the beverage usually by way of somebody washing it down and developing colorful sweat. What's G, on the other hand, just features a long row of stationary athletes and a stylish letter G at the end. If the promoter does not display the object that describes the product, confusion is going to occur even if you don't expect it to.
Have you ever seen the early Tizer adverts at all, Guptil? Because in those adverts, the product wasn't even shown up until the very nearly end. Also, there have been advertisements besides Gatorade that have advertised the product but have not shown the beverages of what it does. You see, that's the sole purpose of an advertisement. It gets the viewer interested in what the product is.